help people. Thank you. To help people, to advance in their lives. The question again is, how are we positioning ourselves for opportunities? In Nigeria, our country where we are, and for those that are not in Nigeria, wherever you are you asking questions about opportunities? Do you know what 2022 really holds for you? Are you taking advantage of them? Are you researching in some of these areas? Are you taking, the necessary steps to gain knowledge, to register that entity, to gain the expertise that you need to, in that area? We need to be able to advance. And so 5G is coming. It's not whether it will come, it's going to come, it's when it's going to take effect. Quantum computing is there, AI is there, machine learning is there. All of them are all coming. And the blockchain is there. All right. This year, for example, there have been a lot. Between yesterday and today, I've had so many, governors in the United States that are accepting or putting regulations in place to start accepting cryptocurrencies, banks that are beginning to say they want to. Visa card, today have opened up to their customers the ability to trade currencies and Bitcoin, and so many. The research that was done showed that majority of Americans are saying, see, we want to be able to buy or trade on cryptocurrencies with our card. So how are we playing? How are we positioning ourselves? For some people, you have taken advantage. For some, you have not. It doesn't stop there. Another area we'll look at also is things like agriculture and all that. So I'm going to show us some numbers from what has happened this year, and then we'll move on. So let's get going. Again, my name is Blessing Obehiaye-Mere. I'm your host on this program, Extra Leverage, and this is January 2022 edition. Okay. I'm trying to change my screen now. Okay. So this is a beautiful Nigeria that we are in. I'm sure that we can see this. This is Nigeria, such a beautiful one. I was somewhere in Ikoyi yesterday, and as I drove around some part of Ikoyi, I'm like, Nigeria is beautiful indeed. Nigeria is really beautiful. How which we can replicate what we see there in Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and the first phase of first part of Lekki. I'm sure that we would have been able to elevate the standard of people. So what is people's purchasing power? How can people elevate their purchasing power? What do we do? Federal government is paying about 30,000 minimum wage. Rice is about 35,000. How do we expect? I had somebody that is going back to school, public school, and we are discussing in the final year of how much he wanted to be able to go back to school, to do his project, to pay for rent, to do all the things he needed to do. And it came to about 700 or something, and I screamed. I'm like, excuse me, 700 or something for a public school, federal university? How do they expect the parents that are working and earning 30,000, as minimum wage, and of course some will be earning 50, some 150? How will parents that have a child or two children in such institutions in Nigeria be able to pay? Are we real to ourselves? Are we really real to ourselves? Public school, 700 and something. Rent alone was about 200 and something. And of course, the project materials, what we buy, the research and everything was going to cost about 200. At the time, I'm like, how do we expect to do this? So the question is, how are we really, as Nigerians, going to be able to survive this country if only a few people have access to, above income, and the majority of the people are not able to even send their children to public schools? They are not even able to rent, affordable accommodations. How do we? So our responsibility is to create jobs. It's not just only to earn, but also to see where we can, take advantage of investment opportunities create wealth so that we can create jobs and opportunities for people. People are checking out every day. We really need to do something about that. Okay, we really need to do something about that. All right. Okay, looking at why do we want to invest? One of the thing is that when we invest, we increase our sources of income. All right. So even if you are working, you are fully working in an employment. The truth is, once you have an investment, that investment can generate passive income. So you can earn passive income for today and for tomorrow. And also you can invest to provide, support for the future, your retirement benefits. Whether we like it or not, retirement is going to come. This is another year, and every one of us are going to add 1 year. Some have already added. And so we are running towards that 60, where the corporate world will tell you, most likely compulsorily, that thank you, you have done well. You have to go and face yourself. You have to go and take care of yourself. What about if your company does not have pension plan for you? What about if the pension plan is not enough to take care of your bills? What about if your children are still just getting into secondary school at that time and university? How do you take care of it? So that's one of the reasons why we must invest. We must invest for today to take care of our bills. And we must invest for tomorrow. It's inevitable. Tomorrow is going to come. How do you want your tomorrow to be? Where do you see yourself? So are you purposefully, working towards that? I always share this story of what I wanted to do many years ago. I wanted to raise 1 million, and I saw that my salary could not. I was earning about 40,000 naira then, and I saw that there's no way I can easily break through and become a billionaire in a month or 1 year. So I had a 5 years plan. The 5 years plan was to put 10,000 in place on monthly basis. In 5 years, that'll be 600,000. And I know I was going to invest it in savings account and buy some shares. So I expected that the returns would generate maybe the other 400 or somewhere along the line. They were going to pay me salaries or increase salaries, and I will increase from 10,000 to 12,000 and maybe to 15,000 along the line. That was 5 years plan. But you know what? Whether it was 5 years or it was 1 year, there was a clear plan. That plan was to hit ₦1 million. And the fact that I started, I was ahead of so many other people that want to wake up, and see 1 million lying by their side. The time I'm telling you now is 2003. Okay, so it's about 20 years ago. So you can imagine if I had continued with that plan, it means that I should be able to look at my account and say, okay, I think I'm gaining something or I'm building something. What have you been doing in the past 20 years? How have you been setting money aside for investment? What have you been investing in? And I really want that to be part of, the conversation that we have today, beyond the slides, the tables we are going to show. The thing is, you must be deliberate about it. Every month as you earn, are you putting money aside for investment? Are you setting 10% minimum, 20% minimum aside? Put it somewhere. Or you just think it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. Listen, it will never be enough. It can never be enough. Money is never enough, okay? Every time you get additional fund, maybe after 3 months, your expenses will meet up again. So it is the principle that is key here. When you get the principle work for you, whether you are earning 10,000, whether you are earning 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, or 1 billion naira, the principle remains universal. And you know what happens? After gathering this fund for some time, you suddenly just realize that you have so much around you to do with passive investments that you have done here and there. You are able to do this by just selling some shares, by just going to your investment account. An opportunity, they say, comes but once. That statement is true, not always true, but there are some opportunities that come once in a lifetime. When such come knocking at your door, what are you going to leverage on to move that money? So we need to do that. We need to be able to avoid, financial pressure that is going to come whether you like it or not. So let me take us through the budget 2022 and look at the global situation. What is the IMF saying? Okay, what is the picture how do they see the global economy? How do they see Africa? And how do they see Nigeria? So the global economy is projected, or was projected in 2021 to grow at 6%. And for 2022, it's projected to grow at 4.6%. You know, for Africa, what do they see? In 2020, during the COVID, it was 3.6%. And for 2022 is going to be 5.3%. I'll show us more detail about this. However, you know, we continue to see that some of these numbers are not exactly true. Some countries exceeded, some countries did not. But for Nigeria, what is the outlook? You know, the outlook for Nigeria for 2022, for example, is about 2.5% or so, you know, the growth. So I will show you a table that shows that more closely. Now, this is a highlight of the budget that was presented in October 2021. A few things that are going to come. The aggregate revenue, this has changed because the National Assembly did some work on it. The aggregate expenditure, so you can see that from the very first two lines there, the revenue of Nigeria is going to be about 10.1 trillion, and of course the expenditure is going to be 16. Who lives life like this? All right, who lives life like this? I mean, some people, interestingly, we can be shouting about Nigeria. This is how we live our life. This is how we live on month-by-month basis. Oh, maybe not month by month. Annually, this is how we live. Our income is far less than our expenses. You can see that, you know, about 6 trillion is going to be borrowed to survive as a country. Question: have you done your budget this year? Do you know how much you are expecting as income in your household? Oh, maybe in your business. Do you know how much you are expecting as inflow from all sources, all proved and provable sources? You know, how much are you expecting? Do you have that one small sheet of paper where you write it and say, okay, these are all the income that I'm going to receive? And then do another one, your expenses. These are what? You know, Christians will live by faith. Everything is faith. Doing the right thing doesn't take away faith at all. In fact, the reality is that when we plan some of those things and see what is actual, we don't bring faith in and say, okay, this is the actual. It's 10, but Lord God, I'm trusting you to be able to do 12 or 13. You know, and you also now take steps to say, God, what do I do to get this 13? Because in fact, though Nigeria is going to spend additional 6, or the plan in October 2021 to spend 16 trillion in 2022, they had plans. One of them was to borrow, okay, to go and borrow the 6 trillion. That was one of the plans that they had. So it is being practical, putting things down the way it should be, going through that process that actually make you, you know, to activate your faith. And there are some you don't even know at all. God steps in at that point. You know, like the story I gave of wanting to make 1 million in 5 years. They didn't get to 5 years at all. Somewhere along the line, you know, faith came in, grace came in, supernatural provision came in, and I was able to make the 1 million far before the 5 years that I planned. Okay, so what plans do you have? If God wants to bless something, God wants to multiply something, now what does he have for you to multiply? So this is a country, and this is your country and my country. This is the plan to do. I have a 6 trillion expenditure, all right, over and above what is expected. So let's look at the global, regional, and domestic developments that have happened. I've showed us some figures before, so I actually skipped going through that one by one because of this, which was provided by the Finance Ministry, looking at the clear budget imperatives and the prognosis that the international community has put in place. We have the 2020, the 2021, the 2022. As at the time they were presenting this, they've not gotten all the figures for 2021, so it's still under projection. So we see that world output between 2021 and 2022 is to be 4.9. That is coming down from 6. So which means things are actually not as rosy as it is expected to be. United States is going to come down from 7% growth to 4.9. The Europe area or the Euro area is going to come down from 4.6 to 4.3. That begins to tell you that things are going to be tighter a little bit economically this year compared to last year. We look at emerging markets and developing countries from 6.3 to 5.2. We look at others more specifically, but when we come to Nigeria, Nigeria seems to be saying we are going to be positive from 2.5 to 2.6 growth, as we see there. South Africa is going to shrink as we see. And of course, low-income developing countries, they said we are going to, that's where Nigeria still belongs to somehow, we are going to grow from 3.9 to 5.5. So this is what the world is looking at in terms of numbers. And we live in this world, even though we are not of this world. We cannot close our eyes to what this is going to do. So as you plan your business, as you look at opportunities, you have to look at and ask questions. What are the companies globally looking at? What are the industries? So because this is going to shape companies' budget and their economic imperatives. Whatsoever they are going to do, they are going to pay attention to, how is the country going to look like? Is it going to be aggressive? Is it going to contrast? How do we actually move on, as a country, as a people, both in Africa and the rest of the world? So Nigeria is going to grow by 0.1% over last year's number. We are still waiting to get final numbers for 2021. All right, so what is Nigeria looking at? What are the things that are going to drive? So there are key assumptions that have been made. So we have, this was taken actually from the Federal Ministry of Finance and Budgets and Planning in Nigeria, what they are thinking. This is their thoughts, that they have put on the table and say, this is what we think. So for 2020, 2021, 2022, they are saying that oil price is going to move to 57 as we speak. Let me confirm that number right now. A few days ago, crude oil price was actually at $90. All right, it was at 90, and it came down a little bit because people were taking profits. As we speak, Brent is about 89.05. Okay, so it means that Nigeria as a country is already getting about $32, per barrel as profits or excess of budgets over actual. So is that going to go to excess crude oil account? Is this trend going to even continue? All right, the crisis that is happening in Turkey and other parts of the world that are leading to this, are they going to continue, or is the trend going to change? All right, so for some people that are myopic in their thinking, they will start living on oil price of 89 today. All right, they will adjust all their budgets, they will adjust their expenses and forget that these are moving targets. All right, these are things that are going to change or might change overnight. It might go up, it might come down, but going up is going to be a tall order because, of course, as prices go up, US shale production is going to go up. It means that they will be able to pump more crude oil into the market and everybody's going to rush for profits. That might crash what we see. But how does it affect you? It means that the crude oil, the petroleum price that we think is high, the diesel price that we think is high now might continue to go up. Because if this is the international market price of crude oil, it means that for refined products, it's likely going to also mirror what we see here today. Okay, so we look at crude oil production, exchange rates. Let me pause there also. You can see that exchange rates has moved from 2020 of 360, and they are saying it's going to be 410, and they will hold it on for 2023 and 2024. These are estimates. It can change forward, it can go down, but it's likely not going to come down because we have a huge Naira budget to meet. and going up is more likely it's not coming down. All right. So inflation, as you plan, inflation is going to be 13%. They are saying it will come down from 15 to 13. But what does that mean for your investment? We are looking at investment opportunities. It means that for any investment you are going to do in this year, 2022, if you invest in anything that will not give you above 13%, you are losing money. That is what it means. Because money and the economy is going to suffer 13% inflation. It means that prices are likely to go up by 13%. It means that if you put your money in a fixed deposit and you are getting 5%, you're actually losing, additional 8%. So this is where we are careful. But the question is, how many of such opportunities do we have? Where do we put our money to get 10%, to even get 13%? It's tough. Treasury bills are not even giving that again today. So where do we find that? I don't know, unfortunately. But I will draw attention to a few things that we can exploit. But the truth is, you have to do your own research at the end of the day. But it's good that we arm ourselves with this, so that even in your business, people are asking for credit. They are saying, sell for me on credit. You should know what you're actually doing. Today, the central bank monetary policy rate remains at +7, above the baseline, which is 11.5. It means that the banker is not likely to go to give you loan at anything less than 18 to 20 to 25%. So if you are granting credit in your business to anybody, just know that you are actually suffering about 20% cost of funds, and you are giving it out for free to somebody. Oh, how do you do this? You have to be careful about it. There are competition also in the market. Can you actually go out there and say, I will not grant credit? The answer is going to be no, all right? Because I'm sorry for those that said, I just read a message that you have missed a lot because of network. Sorry about that. We have this recorded, and you can play it again. So the question is, as you grant those credit to customers, know what it is. But let me tell you the advantage. If you can buy things on credit, you should leverage on it. You should exploit it, because what it really means is that anybody that is giving you credit and not building up the cost of funds into that credit is helping you to subsidize, and to finance your business. So this is a strategy. One thing you have to leverage on is relationship, leverage on the opportunities. And if you can't get things on credit for your business, please do. But be careful as you grant credit, because it has implication. All right, I'm not going to spend time on others. We can read them. This slide is likely going to be available to us. Okay, so what is the rationale? Because when the budget went to the National Assembly reviewed it, and they gave reasons for reviewing a few of the budget items. The reason why I brought this one here is to know where the government is thinking that money is going to go, so that you can go and position yourself, all right? Because we are looking at, opportunities in this year. They said they will spend about 100 billion, for INEC, towards preparation for 2023 election. So is there service you can provide in that light for those that are into internet services? What is INEC going to do? Are they going to use electronic cards? Are they going to depend on internet services in local and remote areas? You might just want to find a way to partner with them so that you can provide those services, because 100 billion is going to go for that purpose. And the government said we are going to spend about 400 billion for national poverty reduction with growth strategy. 400 billion. Where is that 400 billion going to go to? They are going to have all kind of program, that they are going to expect that money will go to. How transparent this is something else that you and I cannot say, but there is going to be opportunities there. If you don't find out what these things called poverty reduction is, or national poverty reduction and growth strategy is, you will not know how to position yourself. Are they going to give 50,000 per month, 500,000 to SMEs, or 5 billion to medium scale? What are they going to do? How do you benefit? How do you position yourself to benefit from this? This is very key. There are services, there are entrepreneurship that will benefit if you know this. 178 billion provision for population and housing census. Oh, that is another opportunity. They want to do census in 2022, and they want to spend 178 billion for census. All right. Is there an infrastructure that you can provide? Is there a service you can provide? Is there a positioning you can actually take to ensure that you attract more of this? 50 billion for police operations funds. All right. Okay. So you want to go and find out what to sell for police, maybe a shiny beret or a more durable belt, or the shirt that will not easily fade away, or touch lights for them to use in the night, whatsoever it is. They are going to get about 50 billion for, for that police fund this year. 37 billion goes to provision for MDA's electricity bill debt. So if you're in the electricity sector, they said they will pay about 37 billion. So if they are owing you there, or there is a service that you have provided and the electricity companies are not paying because they are being owed, just remember that they are going to get about 37 from government establishments this year to pay bills. 517.5 billion additional multilateral to bilateral project tied loans. Okay, so these are funds that international organizations are likely going to bring, and we need to match some of this, with our own money. So as they bring the money, we'll match it, with some of with a sum of about 570 billion. What are those projects going to be? One of them, for example, is the national identity cards or national identity numbers. All right. So they are supposed to push a lot of money into that space because it is for global security these days. So people are likely going to be doing a lot there. So position yourself. Of course, 54 billion to Nasini, which represent 1% FGN share of federation accounts, and 309 billion for TED fund, tertiary education fund. All right. So I can go over this again and again and again, but let's just prepare ourselves for where the opportunities lie and where we can invest. Okay. So what about the revenue? I will not spend so much time on the revenue because the revenue really does not put money more in your pockets. It's more about you paying taxes. But also, government is expecting that you, as an individual, as a corporate entity, will be able to do better businesses, because the more your business succeeds, the more taxes they will get from you. So projection has grown by 24% when you compare it to 2021, and we expect that the government will be more aggressive. Crude oil price is going to play a key role, but as we go down very soon, you will see that in aggregate, 34.9% only is projected revenue is to come from oil related, while the other 65 is to come from non-oil sources. So government is saying we are not depending on oil again. We are beginning to grow other sector. That growth should affect you. That growth is where you should position yourself, because the government is trying to encourage other sector of the economy to grow outside oil and gas. And what are they going to do? There's going to be incentives. There's going to be reliefs. There's going to be supports as much as possible. We hope they are transparent enough for people to benefit from. Okay. This is the allocation of the capital expenditure by the government to various, sectors, various MDAs, works and housing. About $404 billion is going there. So how does it affect you? Do you sell raw materials? Do you provide services in that area? Transportation, power, water resources, health, education, defense, agriculture. These are various areas the government wants to spend money. Now, somebody is saying, my economy is outside of the government. I agree with you, amen. But the truth is, all the things you see move around, they're actually triggered majorly by the activities of government. We don't have an economy that is deep enough yet, that can do the kind of expenditure government does today in Nigeria and most African countries. So to a large extent, we need to lean a little bit into this. What to watch? Which of the areas are we going to watch this year? These are presentations that some people have postulated, and I agree perfectly. This was done by Bismarck Rwani for FDC. And the 6 points here is that there's going to be concessioning of airports. So if you think you are very strong with infrastructure, you want to go and bid for airport concessioning, why not? Why should you keep yourself small? Okay, you can go and bid to manage an airport. In parts of the world where concessioning and private partnership works, private people run airports, so you can position for that. Dangote Refinery, the plan is that it will come on board fourth quarter this year. So there are a lot of things that are going to happen. Is it what do you call it now? Transportation of those products you want to leverage on? Is it building a tank farm somewhere? Is it even owning a filling station, knowing that there will be more regular supply of crude? Is it even going to be a contractor, around those areas? They are finishing work they are going to do right now, and they are under pressure. So there might be a list of contractors in those areas. They are going to build fertilizer plants. And what does that mean? It means that it's going to a very large extent, affect agriculture. If we are able to get more fertilizers, what it will do is to ensure that we can turn out good yields from our agricultural goods. And of course, 5G, I talked about that, is an area of opportunity. What do you do? Toll gates are likely going to come, as much as possible. Thank you, Ade, for adding to the funding. We talked about the counterpart funding that will come, the 517 billion that we talked about earlier. Okay, toll gates are going to come. So that's an infrastructure. I run an infrastructure company, for example, and the question is, why should I not, go and look for the opportunity in infrastructure space, for example, and bid for the management of one of the toll gates, and make money, because that's what I like doing. That's what I do for a living. I build infrastructure and I collect rents. Okay, so why should I not? So, and people here can begin to think about that. Are there other infrastructures you can build and collect rent? It's one of the easiest way to provide services, close infrastructural gap, and at the same time, you are making money. Housing is going to be a big one. A lot of things in housing. One of the starting points is that the Lagos state government have decided to support monthly rent, for example. What are the opportunities in that space? Okay, if the government is saying, no, we have set aside some billions of naira, it's about 5 billion or 50 billion, so that they are put aside and say, landlord, we want you to give monthly rent to your tenants, and we will back it up. We will support that. We will give the guarantees. We will provide you the funds. So they are not saying landlords should actually be collecting monthly rent. No, what they are saying, from what I have gathered, is any landlord that wants to do that, come to us. We will give you the money for 1 year, and then the people that you are giving house to will be paying monthly to us with little fraction in addition to it. That's what they are saying. So the landlord will still collect their 1 year rent, if my facts are right, but the tenant will now have to subscribe to that fund. And so the question is, are there opportunity there for financial institutions, for middlemen, that want to be able to leverage on the opportunity to gather a lot of people? Some of us have so much people in our network, and we are not leveraging it the way we should. So these are part of the opportunities that we see. Okay. Some of the industries to watch. ICT industry. The budget for it is about 120 billion by the federal government. And look at the things that they think is going to happen in ICT. They said ICT will grow by 9.7%. Telephone penetration will rise sharply. Surge in fintech and mobile payments will go up. So that's an opportunity for so many people. Increased level of activities to be supported by 5G. You know what 5G is going to do? It's going to activate a lot of innovation as well. just like the internet, Web 2, Web 1, Web 2 have actually given room to a lot of innovation. So 5G is going to, a lot of ideas that have never existed are going to, especially, IoTs, things that are going to run autonomously, by themselves. They are going to work on 5G. So we are just waiting for that 5G to be rolled out. Irrespective of our religious sentiments here and there, let us begin to learn about 5G, ask questions about 5G, and look for the opportunity that are there. Let's not just be carried away by the noise. It's going to come. When internet was coming, it was noise. When 3G was coming, it was noise. Today, it is there. We are all comfortable with it. Let us not be among those that will just criticize and criticize without asking where is the value and where do I position myself. The sector will indeed consolidate. And of course, telecom infrastructure will expand with cable acquisition. The Lagos State is doing a lot in that space. They are laying cable all around, trying to ensure that cable penetration happens. They are not going to do it for everybody. There are opportunities for private investors to come in there. Top players like MTN and Airtel Africa will report profit surge of about 72% in 2022. This is according to Bismarck, not me. All right. But I agree that if 5G comes and a lot of penetration happens, that this is going to happen. So what is that saying? It means that people can begin to buy MTN shares. MTN just sold shares, they sold some of their shares to the public of recent, and people were actually buying it. One of the reasons why people actually invested is because they expect to see better performance in MTN. So you can begin to position yourself now in MTN shares and Airtel shares, and all that, because if profit surges, you will get the return. 72% is no joke, all right? You know that the US is also increasing their interest rates, the Fed tapering. And what that means is that there might be a little season of shake between now and March or April, where there will be some, unsettlements in global economy. Because what it means is for those that are borrowed from the US, if they increase their interest rate, it means that those countries are going to find it a little bit difficult to service their debts. So Nigeria, for example, that is owing so much, just imagine when interest rate increases. Ghana is already having challenges with that as we speak. And all the Euro bonds in Ghana, as we speak, they are falling, all right? Their yields are going up. Ghana yield, for example, is about 12-13%, is the highest today in sub-Saharan Africa. And for those that want to invest in Euro bonds, that's a place to go and invest. You invest in Eurobond, you are getting 13%, and that matches your inflation, all right? And also with the fact that you are not going to suffer foreign currency devaluation. So that might be a place to talk to your financial advisors. We have some in iExtra. We can recommend some to you. Not giving any guarantee because I don't work there. I'm not a director there. I don't know what they do, but we can read their profile, do your own research about it. But the truth is we should look at dollar investment in Euro bonds because some of those countries, and we don't know, there's a possibility that this shaking might hit Nigeria very soon as well. So what would that do? It means that share price might drop the way it dropped in 2020 March when everything just went down. In fact, Euro bonds in Nigeria were as high as 17-18% at that time. And that was the best time to have invested in Euro bonds. Average P ratio is going to go up. MTN and Airtel, they are going to also return about 13 and 24% respectively in those years. Okay, let's move on. Construction is another one. My time is almost up now. Construction is another sector to look at. You can read up about construction. Construction is going to be heavy because of infrastructural development, whether construction of roads, building, and other tools and infrastructural support. That is huge, or that is in huge demand in Nigeria. There's a huge deficit in infrastructure. So top players are likely going to increase their profit by about 64% in this sector. Okay, financial sector is another one that will grow. And this is going to grow by about 8.32% in the year. And we are looking at, according to Bismarck that I'm quoting here, that First Bank shares has returned about 62.16. I've not validated this, but I trust his position here in 1 year. So in 2022, it's likely going to do even better, you know, all other things being equal. So what are the things to look at in financial sector? Rationalization and drift within the industry, increased partnership and collaboration with fintech in promoting financial inclusivity, aggressive digital innovation and lending solutions, possible mergers and acquisition within and across tiers to boost capital structure. Tier 1 bank will leverage on robust customer base and balance sheets, you know, deepen penetration, increase Africa footprint, improve corporate governance, and of course, that corporate governance, I'm working on something on ESG, and part of the thing that I'm looking out there is how does governance, you know, actually affect, you know, businesses as it is. Manufacturing is another one. I think that's the last one I'll talk about in this. So you can look at all for manufacturing. Let me not stay there. Let's go to something else, all right? And quickly wrap this up. ESG investing is one. I'm not going to spend time on this one today. I'm going to talk about ESG in another session. It will just be purely ESG. I will take us through some of the opportunity. The trillions of dollars that are heading to Africa, and they are only going to come to Africa and rest in the companies that are ESG compliant. Okay, cryptocurrencies. I talked about this at the beginning. There are some things they call meme coin now. Somebody was sharing, I think on the Twitter, I read that in 2021, somebody that invested about $1,000 in some particular coin, I think a shape coin or whatsoever they call, they were able to make about $1 million at the end of the day. And that's because some of these coins just come up and they just take off. Thanks to the likes of Elon Musk that is shilling some of these coins. But the truth is this, you have 99.5% of them that are not going to survive. The 1% that are going to turn things around, you have to be careful. You have to do research. You have to look at what is happening. You have to know what is happening in the space. See, let me tell you, the cryptocurrency space is no longer what we talk about and we close our mouth so that somebody will not hear. No, it's no longer like that. El Salvador, as a country, their official currency includes Bitcoin today. In fact, the World Bank is actually begging them to drop Bitcoin as their official currency. They are not willing to do that. And many other countries, maybe 5 or 6 this year, they are likely going to adopt Bitcoin as their official currency. Oh, what about Nigeria? Nigeria has actually started e-Naira, which is part of the blockchain exploration. All right. So what next is going to follow, we don't know. But get acquainted with this space. Know what is happening in this space. Know what people are talking about. Some of these currencies, they are community driven. If you have a strong community that is so powerful, Shiba coin, for example, that's what drove that coin. They have strong community. They were pushing for so many things. So you have to join community, online communities, know what is happening and see also what their roadmap is. And one of the word that is out there today is metaverse, to the extent that Facebook changed their name from Facebook to Meta. All right. So a lot of people are going to the metaverse, and the metaverse, you know, is a cyberspace built on intersection of virtual realities and augmented reality. So the metaverse is huge. A lot of investment. It's a world. It's going to be a virtual world where you can do almost anything you do physically. All right. Okay. You have an identity there. You have an account there. You have an address there. You can buy and sell there. You can live anywhere in the metaverse. I think you should pay attention to the metaverse and what is happening. This is the time to position yourself, maybe in the metaverse. Just like I said at the beginning, somebody that said, if I had bought Bitcoin with the costs, the money that I used to buy my house in 2016, I would have bought 600 Bitcoin. Today, if I am buying the same Bitcoin, I might just be buying about 10 or 20 Bitcoin, which means that opportunities were there in 2016 and people didn't pay attention to it. The metaverse seems to be a huge opportunity. with NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and they are going to, in fact, Google is already saying that they are going to enable NFTs. Facebook is already saying that they are going to enable NFTs. And what they are saying is that with their accounts, you can put your NFT as your identity for your Facebook, for example. And Google is exploring that. So what are you doing about it? Are you thinking that that is where the Antichrist is going to come from, and you are not looking at the opportunities there? You have to prepare. You have to be conversant with what is happening. Many innovations have happened in this world that in the past we didn't pay attention to, and they came to meet us, and now we are living with them. When internet came, it was all kind of name. Today, all of us are using email. This is Google. I mean, this is what do you call a Zoom we are using right now. I'm sure some years ago, some people would have criticized it. Let me tell you, in the innovation space before now, when the things like electricity came, it took about 45 years for electricity to penetrate, the United States and part of the country, about 45 years for it to penetrate. Today, smartphone is taking less than 5 years to get the same penetration of more than 50%, of the same population, So things are changing, or not the same population, really in the same country and region. So things are changing, and the truth is this: we need to position. Things are moving very fast. Products that will last before for a long time, they are fading out of the market also very quickly. What are you doing? So in wrapping this up, I'm looking at things like Eurobond investment in emerging markets. In Africa, for example, I said Ghana, their yield is about 13% right now. Do you have funds in dollars? Why not invest? Do your own research, talk to advisors, and invest in some of those yields where you get a return that is higher than your inflation rate, and you also hedge against foreign currency devaluation. We've talked about the cryptocurrency space. We don't know where it's going to. I'm careful to make any recommendations because I know that people will want to jump at that so that tomorrow they'll say, you said, okay. So I'm only saying that that space is no longer the space to undermine. You need to be able to do your research. I think we have had a full session on that one somewhere in this iExtra, and I gave my thoughts on that. So if you want to, you can go check out that video on blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now I'm telling you, NFTs and metaverse is a place to look at. Microsoft, Walt Disney, Apple, and Nike have also poured billions of dollars into the metaverse technology, a market that is projected to zoom to 800 billion by 2024. That's just 2 years from now, from 500 billion in 2021. I think the truth is these numbers are grossly understated. They are going to be far bigger than this. It is huge. What is happening in that space is huge. Well, agriculture is a place to look at also. You can invest in agriculture, but please be very careful of all the schemes in agriculture, investment fund this, investment fund that. Be very careful. Many of them have not been able to survive, all right? What many of them have resorted to doing is to do rotational credit scheme kind of things, or Ponzi, where they collect from these pyramids and they used to pay the other one. They think they're making, a lot of them have failed, but there are a few of them that are very, very reliable, and they are still turning out returns for those that cannot go physically to own lands and do agriculture. We also know that there have been challenges of herdsmen, kidnapping, and all that. So that has put some pressure. So, but there are a few people that master this market. There are a few people that know this market, and they are there, trying to help people. Look for them. Get good information about the agricultural sector. I will be wrapping up now with Okay. It's like you guys lost me before, all right? I'm back.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
All right, so
my
that's great.
network, yeah, my network just turned off and back. All right, so we were doing the analysis and of a building that the person was looking at. And by the time we look at the rents in the area, it was clear that it was going to cost, it take the person about 60 years to recover the principal. The payback period was going to be about 60 years. And that is not exciting. So a lot of people are going to run away from investing in real estate building. So rental properties are going to be exciting. Those that have properties, you just try to upgrade them, try to ensure that you elevate, the standard of your property, and you might just be that person that people are running to. Land also and house flipping. People are saying now that instead of building, you might just have to sell your land, or build and sell is better than building and leasing to people. I think those are opportunities that are there. Instead of building a house and putting rent, if you build a house and you sell it and build another one and you sell, you might just be making. We are looking at investment opportunity. We have to be. Daniel, you are saying hello. Are we together? Is everything in order?
Yes, I actually wanted to send a message that people post their questions on the chat box while
Oh,
we're rounding up.
okay. Excellent. So in the real estate, please let us look at it. I think people also look at the real estate wrongly. They look at only the rental returns as the only returns. No, there's capital appreciation. Your property is not going away, all right? Your property is increasing in value as it were. So in bonds, FGM bonds, Euro bonds, corporate bonds, all the kind of bonds that will yield, almost above the inflation or about the inflation. That is difficult to come by now. That's why Ghana, for example, for me, seems to be an interesting opportunity, investment opportunity. As we speak today, it might not be there tomorrow. Once it gains some confidence, those investment opportunities might disappear. But let us watch also. Let's save money down and watch for where there is a little turn, negative turn in the environment, in the economy. That sometimes is the best opportunity to also invest carefully and being guided by your investment advisor is very key that we have that. So in summary, where do we put our money? I'm saying, first of all, knowledge. Know what is happening in the economy. Know where the direction of money is, where people are putting money. Know where it is so that you can position yourself there. Know exactly what the government is thinking, where spending is going to go. We have also said that you should look at the areas of ICT, look at construction, look at um, financial infrastructure, a few other things we have mentioned today. I also say we should look at the blockchain space. That space is huge. It's no longer the space to be ignored. Please position yourself. Let me quickly say that there are some technology. You are not to just be a consumer of blockchain. You can actually build. What blockchain does is it brings about autonomy, decentralization. So if you are a creative person, you don't need to be a technical person to create, but you are able to bring people together to create a product, a service, to meet a need. What are the needs today in your area? You can actually bring people together and build on the blockchain solutions. You can actually build, get people together to build in that space. You can invest in that space. You can build in that space. All right. You can fund, as a venture capital in that space. There are so many things that are heavy in that space. I also talked about the rent, the fact that Lagos State government have today now sign a bill or put a regulation in place to ensure monthly rents. How do you position yourself in that area? We've talked about rental properties are likely going to go up. Let me tell you one of the opportunities there. You can actually go and rent a property today, refurbish it, and rent it out again to other people. All right? That's another way to make money. You can actually go and look for a land that is just there, build something there. You can actually go and look for a house and an uncompleted building. You lease it, complete it, do a long-term lease, 5 years lease, 10 years lease, complete that property and put it out for lease, sublease, and you make money from it. All right. We also have talked about, the metaverse, the fact that the metaverse and the NFT space is huge. A lot of people are going into that space. You also need to position yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, can I stop at this point? I want to thank you for listening. I will be open and willing to take our questions and contribution. Please, one of the things I thought I would do today is to ask us, where do you see money this year? All right, because this is not just about me knowing everything. No, I'm trying to see as much as I can push out there, but the space is diverse. Where do you think the money is this year? So the floor will be open now for both contribution, comments, and questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Blessing, for this wonderful presentation. It's really been challenging, and yes, it's time for us to take action. If you have questions, please indicate by a raise of hands or put it in the chat box while we get to read them. Or comments. Let's make it interactive. This is a time to interact. Any questions? Okay, I have appreciations from people saying thank you, Dr. Blessing, for sharing this wonderful presentation with us. Very thought-provoking session, Dr. Blessing. Thank you. So we have appreciations on the chat box. We're looking out for questions, comments as well. Who's going to take the lead on that? Anybody? All right. If there are no questions, let's see. Okay, Agric, someone is saying the Agric space. How do we explore? All right, Dr. Blessing, sir.
Okay, I think I spent some time on that also by saying that the agricultural space, for example, is where the government is going to focus, a lot. I did talk about fertilizer, the fact that a lot of efforts is going to go into promoting fertilizer. So people are likely going to get access to fertilizer, yields are going to go up. So there are different ways you can. If you have the time, if you have passion for it, you can actually go get land and get involved in the process. All right, own land and plant seeds. You can also leverage on those people that know what they are doing and they are managing these agricultural lands on behalf of people. But I also did express the concern that we have seen in the market where a lot of people have failed, to meet their promises. And a lot of quick investments are like that. Any investment that promises you too quick or too generous returns above the inflation, please be careful. Look at it twice, 3 times before you invest in it. Another place you can invest in the agriculture is to look at the value chain of agriculture, all right? So why must you be the one to go to the market, to the farm to till the ground and plant and harvest? You can just build a value chain by being an aggregator of products, get the buyers, get the sellers, and you be the middleman. You buy from this and you sell to this. That's one way you can actually, I think that's where there's huge opportunity. Then you can also be a processor, all right? There are some places, for example, today where they harvest a lot of cassava, but they don't have a processing mill there. Can you go and set up a processing mill, for example, all right, where people that have finished farming, they bring their product there, you help them process it. So it depends on where you are. It depends on where your passion is. The agricultural space is huge. And I think that for you to go into that space, don't forget when we started, we said we must build competence in terms of knowledge in this area. For you to go to that space, you must know what is happening. You must seek expert advice. You must know exactly what the pitfalls are, what the opportunities are, what to watch out for, what is working for people, and what has not worked for people, so that you are moving with confidence and with knowledge into that space. I hope that is helpful.
Oh, thanks a lot for answering that question, sir. We have another question. Someone asking if we can have a whole session on NFT and metaverse later in the year. I believe that will be addressed as we proceed in the year.
Yes, it's huge. I'm thinking that that's a space that we really need to bring experts. You know, I am just an enthusiast in that space. I'm not an expert. All right. So that space, the good thing with that space is that it works for a lot of people, whether you are a content creator, whether you are a technology person building the platform, whether you are a musician, you're an artist. That space works for a lot of people. It actually unlocks value for a lot of people. It's a word. The metaverse is a word. Oh my God. It's like living in Nigeria. All right. The metaverse is even bigger than that because it is a boundless world where everybody can participate. Facebook is taking their part of their product to the metaverse. All right. For NFT, a lot of people, Nike, for example, they are selling, NFTs today. They are minting NFTs. They are trading NFTs. So a lot of opportunities are there. And we have creative people that can draw, people that can create, people that can write. That is the space to begin to read about. There are YouTubers that are excellent. There are also some that are very useless. They don't give any correct information. So you have to be extra careful about who you follow. But it's a huge space. And I think we need to pay attention to it. I really recommend that.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We have a contribution, the offshore remote opportunities in the professional managed space, actually in the
Absolutely.
IT, software engineering, data analytics.
Absolutely. Let me expand this. Thank you so much, Ade. This area is huge. Oh, yes, it is huge. I have met some people in the recent past that will tell me that, you know what, I work from home. In fact, I'm changing job now. I'm working for an international company. They are IT professionals, all right? There are some of them that are professionals in other areas. Foreign companies are coming to Nigeria to hire because it's cheaper for them. With little dollars, they can pay so much. So some people earn 250,000 a month in Nigeria here. And these foreign companies come, they are willing to pay $500,000 and 500,000 naira, because how much is 500,000 naira? At an average of 500 naira to $1, that's how much? That's like 1,000, isn't it? $1,000. Yes, that's like $1,000. Okay, and it's cheaper. For those jobs, they pay, maybe there are people $2,000 in the US. So coming to hire people from here, they are even getting it cheaper. And of course, it depends on the kind of work. It goes up. Some they pay 1,000, they pay 2,000, some pay. So people are earning. So people are just sitting at home and working and earning excellent money. And our brother here have shared software engineers, data analysis, analysts, and cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, product managers. They are very, very many. Please let people exploit the opportunities that are there. Global firms, recruiting firms, they are everywhere. Do you have your LinkedIn profile, ramped up? Are you looking at seeking additional skill in this area that have just been listed here? Please, let's copy that, which our brother here have thrown up here, Brother Ade, or Mr. Ade. Professional stroke managed services, IT, software engineers, data analysts, cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, products, just name them as they are there. please, these areas, you can actually even do online trainings in this area and get certified. And the whole world is at your service. So please do. And if you need to even work for some people for free, why not go and do it to get the requisite knowledge? You know, a huge opportunity is out there in managed services, especially with global firms.
All right, thank you very much, sir. One more question. Someone is asking if we could have another session on blockchain technology.
Yes, like we said, we are going to work on that. I think we need to bring the core experts. Last time we brought somebody, Biodun, who is a core blockchain expert. We are going to bring other people also to share with us. So I think for that, there's a program I'm trying to work on now. I think I'm already looking at the blockchain technology in that space. If that is the route we are going to go, we will let everybody know, because we are going to bring owners of blockchain platforms, you know, to speak and to tell us what is the inner workings and the opportunities in that space. So we will do that.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So if there are no more questions, I would want to thank Dr. Blessing once again for sharing this information with us.